After 9 years of raising my brother's 3 kids unpaid, my mom slid a $1,200 rent invoice across the table. I signed nothing, packed 2 bags, and left by 6 a.m. The house was silent for 4 days. Then my brother's wife called my workplace screaming. HR put her on speaker. The invoice sat under my water glass like it belonged there. My mother didn't look at me when she slid it across the kitchen table. She just pushed the corner of the paper with 2 fingers, the way you'd push a plate toward a dog you didn't particularly like. The invoice was printed on thick off-white cardstock. It had a thin gray border. At the top, in a font she'd picked from some template website, it said household contribution. Under that, in bold, it said, amount due, $1,200. Starting Monday, she said, still not looking at me. She was buttering toast for the youngest one, Briar. The knife scraped. That's for the room, utilities, your share of groceries. I didn't pick it up. I watched her hands instead. Her hands were steady. She had rehearsed this. Somewhere in the last few days, she had sat down with my brother Wesley and his wife Palmer, and the 3 of them had decided on the number, $1,200. They had probably argued about it. Palmer had probably wanted more. Wesley had probably suggested they ease me into it. My mother had probably said, she can afford it. She's done well for herself. Briar, 4 years old, was kicking the leg of the table in a steady rhythm. Across from her, the twins, Kaylin and Rode, were eating cereal I had bought with my own money 2 nights ago. All 3 kids had been fed, clothed, driven, bathed, parent-teacher conferenced, soothed through ear infections, and tucked in by me for 9 years. 9 years of doing the job nobody volunteered for when Wesley and Palmer decided they were too young to be so locked down and moved 2 hours away for his sales job, sending the kids back every weekend, then every other week, then every week, and finally for good. I can afford it, I said. My mother's shoulders relaxed an inch. She thought that was agreement. She turned around, finally looking at me, and her face was arranged in that soft, practiced way she used on the kids when she wanted them to think a shot at the doctors wouldn't hurt. We just thought it was time, she said. You're 31. You make good money now. It's only fair. Fair, I repeated. Wesley and Palmer contribute too, she said, too quickly. Wesley and Palmer contributed a phone call every other Sunday and a Christmas visit where Palmer spent 3 hours on her laptop in the guest room. They'd moved back into our hometown last spring, into a rental 20 minutes away, and had not taken the children back. Not one of them. Not for a weekend. Not for a night. When I'd asked, Palmer had cried and said she wasn't emotionally ready to parent again, and Wesley had said, Sis, you're so good with them. Don't rock the boat. I looked at the invoice. I looked at Briar kicking the table. I looked at the twins, who were watching me now because kids always know when the air in a room changes. Okay, I said. My mother smiled. I need to think about a few things, I said. I'll let you know by tonight. There's nothing to think about, sweetheart. It's just rent. Then tonight's fine. I stood up. I left the invoice under the glass. I kissed the tops of all 3 kids' heads in the order I always did. Briar, Kaylin, Rode, and I went upstairs. They'd been pushing like this for a while. A nudge here, a comment there. Last month my mother had started saying your kids when she meant the 3 downstairs. 2 weeks ago, Palmer had texted me a link to a finance article called When Adult Children Live at Home, a Fair Contribution Guide. Wesley, on a phone call, had said the word freeloader in a sentence about someone at his office, and let it sit there for a beat too long. They had been circling. Now they had landed. In my bedroom, the same bedroom I'd had since I was 14, the one I had moved back into at 22 when the kids were small and Wesley had called me crying because Palmer needed a break from motherhood, I sat on the edge of the bed and opened my laptop. I didn't cry. I didn't text anyone. I didn't call anyone. I opened a new browser tab. The first thing I looked up was the lease on our house. My mother owned it outright. My father had left it to her when he died, so there was no landlord. Fine. The second thing I looked up was apartments near my office. My office was 35 minutes away in good traffic. I filtered for 1-bedrooms, available immediately, under $1,800. I found 4. I called the first one. A woman answered on the second ring. I told her I needed something today. She said she had a unit that had just turned over. The previous tenant had left that morning. It was clean, it was furnished, it was $1,650 a month. I could tour it in an hour. I toured it in an hour. It was small. Beige carpet. A window that faced a parking lot. A queen bed, a couch, a table with 2 chairs, a kitchen the size of a closet. I signed the lease in the leasing office at 2:47 p.m. I paid first month, last month, and deposit on my debit card. I got keys at 3:10 p.m. I drove back to my mother's house. I did not speak to anyone. I made dinner, chicken, rice, the green beans Briar would actually eat, and I sat with the kids while they ate it. I helped Rode with his spelling homework. I read Briar a book about a rabbit. I ran the twins' bath. I tucked them in. I said the things I always said: good night. I love you. See you in the morning. Then I went to my room and I packed 2 bags. 2. Just 2. A rolling suitcase and a duffel. Clothes for 2 weeks, toiletries. My laptop. My passport. The folder with my birth certificate and social security card. The jewelry from my grandmother. A framed picture of me and my father from when I was 8. 3 books. That was it. 9 years of living in that house, and I could fit the part of it that was actually mine into 2 bags. Everything else. The furniture I had bought, the kitchen things I had bought, the kids' craft supplies, the weighted blanket I had bought Kalen when his anxiety started, the humidifier I had bought Briar, the bookshelf I had assembled myself, the standing mixer on the counter downstairs, the good knives in the block, the coffee machine my mother used every morning, the car seat in the back of her car. I left. Not because I was being generous. Because carrying it would slow me down. I did do one more thing. I went into the little desk drawer in my room and I pulled out a manila folder I had been keeping for 4 years, receipts. Grocery receipts with the kids' names written in the margin in my own handwriting. Pediatrician co-pays. School fees. The deposit on Briar's preschool. The twins' soccer uniforms. The emergency vet bill when the family dog I had been feeding for years, ate a sock. 4 years of small paper. I had not saved it because I was planning this. I had saved it because something in me had always known that at some point, someone was going to ask me to prove I had done my part, and I had wanted to be able to produce the proof without having to say a word. I put the folder on top of my laptop inside the rolling suitcase. Then I zipped the bag. I set my alarm for 5:30 a.m. At 5:45, I carried the bags down the stairs one at a time, quietly. My mother's door was closed. The kids' doors were closed. I didn't go in. I had already said goodnight. That was goodbye, and they just didn't know it yet, and I was not going to make it worse by kissing them again in the dark. At 5:58, I put the 2 bags in my car. At 6 a.m., I pulled out of the driveway. I did not leave a note. I drove to my new apartment. I carried the bags up 1 flight of stairs. I unpacked the duffel. I took a shower in a bathroom that smelled like new grout. I made coffee in a machine that came with the unit. I sat on the couch and I drank the coffee and I watched the parking lot fill up with people going to work. Then I got dressed and I went to work. At work, I did not say anything to anyone. I sat at my desk. I answered emails. I went to my 10 a.m. meeting. I ate a salad at my desk at 12:30. I answered more emails. At 5 p.m., I logged off. I drove back to the apartment. I ate cereal standing up at the counter. I went to bed. My phone was off. It had been off since 6:01 a.m. I turned my phone on the next morning at 7 a.m. because I needed to check my work calendar. There were 47 missed calls. 31 from my mother. 14 from Wesley. 2 from Palmer. 63 text messages. I did not read them. I scrolled to the top. I selected all. I deleted the thread with my mother, the thread with Wesley, and the thread with Palmer. Then I put all 3 numbers on silent. Not blocked, silent. There's a difference. Blocked feels like a door slam. Silent is a door closed gently and locked from the inside. They could keep calling. I would never hear it. Then I went to work. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, I got an email from my mother. Subject line, please call me. The body said, sweetheart, we need to talk. The children are asking. This isn't like you, please. I archived it. Thursday, I got an email from Wesley. Subject line, unacceptable. The body said, you don't get to just walk out. We had an arrangement. You're being cruel to Mom. Call me today. I archived it. Thursday night, Palmer sent me a message on LinkedIn. She had tracked me down on LinkedIn because I had blocked her on everything else months ago after she told me I was parenting Wesley's kids too strictly. The message said, I know things got heated but the kids cried last night. Briar wet the bed. Please come home. I did not respond. I did not archive. I let it sit there, unread, where it could not touch me. On Tuesday evening I had bought a lamp. On Wednesday I had hung 2 hooks by the front door and put my keys on one of them. On Thursday I had cooked a real dinner, salmon, rice, broccoli, and eaten it at the little 2-chair table with the book open in front of me, and realized halfway through the meal that I had not eaten a meal that was only for me in 9 years. I had forgotten the shape of it. A plate with 1 portion on it. No one reaching. No one whining about the broccoli. No one needing milk. Just a plate. Just me. It was so quiet I could hear the refrigerator hum. I did not feel guilty. I kept waiting to feel guilty and it did not come. What came instead, on the third night, was a kind of flat tiredness, the way you feel after you finish a project that took too long, the tiredness of something being finally, actually done. The house was silent for 4 days. I know it was silent because on the fifth morning, Friday, the silence broke, and the way it broke told me everything about what those 4 days had been like inside it. It was 10:42 a.m. on Friday. I was in the glass conference room on the 4th floor of my office building, in a standing meeting with my director, Priya, and 2 people from the audit team. We were going through a spreadsheet. Priya was clicking through tabs. The audit woman, Marisol, was making notes in a little leather notebook. I had a coffee in front of me that had gone cold. The conference room door opened. It was Danelle, from HR. Danelle never came to meetings. Danelle was the kind of HR person you saw twice a year, once at onboarding and once at the holiday party. She was standing in the doorway with a look on her face I had seen exactly once before, when a guy on the second floor had a stroke at his desk. It was the look of someone who has been handed a situation. "Sorry," Danelle said. "I need to borrow her." Priya looked at me. I stood up. I followed Danelle out. In the hallway, Danelle kept walking. She walked fast. She walked past the elevators, past the kitchen, past the lactation room, all the way down to the HR suite at the end of the floor. She opened the door to the big HR conference room, the one with the oval table and the speakerphone in the middle, and she held the door for me. There were 2 other people already in the room. Veronica, the HR director, and Bram, the head of security. Bram was standing. He did not sit down. "What's going on?" I said. Veronica pointed at the speakerphone. The little red light was on. The call was live. Muted on our end. "A woman called the main line at 10:31, Veronica said. She said her name was Palmer. She said she was your sister-in-law. She demanded to speak to your manager. She was told your manager was in a meeting. She started screaming. She told the receptionist she was going to." Veronica looked down at her notes. She read carefully, "Drag you out of that building by your hair if someone doesn't put you on the phone right now." The receptionist transferred her to me. I told her I was HR. She kept screaming. She said you had abandoned 3 children. She said you were a psychopath. She said if we didn't produce you in the next 5 minutes she was driving to the building. I put her on hold. I called Bram. Bram called the front desk and gave them a photo. The front desk has been briefed. If she shows up, she will not be allowed into the lobby. Veronica set her pen down. "We are going to take her off hold. We are going to put her on speaker. You are going to stand here. You are not going to say anything unless you want to. I am going to speak. I need to create a record. Is that okay?" "Yes," I said. Danelle closed the door. Veronica pressed a button. The mute light went off. "Ma'am," Veronica said, "this is Veronica Okafor, Director of Human Resources. Thank you for holding. You're on speaker. For the record, this call is being documented. Please state your full name and your relationship to our employee." Palmer's voice came through the speaker. It was not a voice. It was a shape. It was loud and wet and broken in places. "Put her on the phone," Palmer said. "Put her on the phone right now. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to lower your voice or I'm going to end this call. You don't understand. She left. She just left. She left 3 kids. There's a 4-year-old, there's twins, she's been their mother, Ma'am. She's the mother. She's the actual mother. And you have to make her come home. You have to, I'm their mother. I'm supposed to be their mother but I can't. I can't do it. She knows I can't. She knows." The 3 HR people did not look at me. They looked at the speaker. Bram, the security head, had pulled a notepad from somewhere and was writing. "Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to confirm, are you stating, on a recorded line, that our employee has been functioning as the primary caregiver for 3 minor children who are not her own?" Yes. 9 years, 9. And now my mother-in-law tried to charge her rent. One stupid thing. It was 1 invoice, and she's being insane about it. She's punishing us. She packed 2 bags and she left in the middle of the night like a coward, like a selfish. Ma'am, I'm going to stop you there. Veronica's voice was the same even, flat tone she had used the whole time. She had not raised it once. I want to be very clear with you about a few things, Veronica said. First, this call is being recorded and documented as a workplace safety incident. Your threats to come to this building have been logged. Our security team has your description and your name. If you come within 100 feet of this property, we will call the police and we will pursue a trespass and harassment order. Second, our employee is not obligated to speak to you, now or ever. Third, you just stated, on a recorded line, that our employee provided unpaid childcare for 3 minor children for 9 years, in a household where the biological parents were present in the area and had chosen not to parent. That is a statement you just made. I want you to understand that you made it. Fourth. I didn't say that, You said it. It's recorded. We are required to retain recordings of any call that triggers a safety incident report. I have just opened one. Fourth, if anyone from your family contacts this workplace again, you, your husband, your mother-in-law, anyone, that contact will be treated as harassment, it will be logged, and it will be forwarded to our legal team. There will be no more phone calls to this building. Do you understand what I am telling you? There was a long breath on the other end. Then a smaller voice, trying to pivot. You don't know what she's like. She's the one who made the kids this attached. She chose this. She chose to be this involved. We didn't ask her to. Ma'am, I'm going to stop you again. You are attempting to have an emotional conversation. I am having a workplace safety conversation. These are not the same conversation. I will not be participating in yours. I'm their mother. Biologically, legally, or functionally. Silence, ma'am. What? Biologically, legally, or functionally. A sound like Palmer sitting down on something. Biologically. Thank you. That's consistent with what our employee indicated. It means our employee has no legal obligations to your household. It means there is no custody matter here. It means the only thing your call has accomplished today is to put you on a security register and to create a written record that confirms a multi-year unpaid caregiving arrangement that you and your husband benefited from. I want you to sit with that information before you call anyone again. Silence on the line. Then a sound. A wet, cracking sound. I just want her to come home, Palmer said. Her voice was small now. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how the bedtime thing works. I don't know Briar has a bear. I don't know which bear. There's like 4 bears and she only wants one of them and I don't know which one and she just screams. Ma'am, that is not a workplace matter. We're ending the call. Veronica reached for the button. Wait. Veronica pressed the button. The red light went off. The room was quiet for maybe 3 seconds. Bram clicked his pen closed. Danelle exhaled through her nose. Veronica turned to me. Are you safe? She said. Yes, I said. Do you have somewhere to stay that she doesn't know about? Yes. Is there a custody situation we need to know about? Any legal guardianship? No. They are not my children. I never adopted them. I have no legal relationship to them. The biological parents have full custody and always have. Veronica nodded once, slowly, like she was filing that away. Okay, she said. Here's what's going to happen. You are not taking calls at your desk today. You are going to work from this floor for the rest of the day, from the small office next to mine. Bram is walking you to your car tonight. Tomorrow morning, we are going to have a longer conversation about a no-contact directive for this workplace and a possible security escalation. Is there anything you need from me right now? No, I said. Thank you. Don't thank me. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry that happened to you. Danelle walked me to the small office. She brought me my laptop bag from the conference room where I'd left it. She brought me a fresh coffee. I sat at the little desk. I opened my laptop. I got back to work. That afternoon at 4:15, my brother called the main line. The receptionist had been briefed. She did not transfer the call. She took a message, per Veronica's instructions, and brought it up to HR. The message said, Wesley, caller states he is the employee's brother. Caller is demanding she call him back. Caller was informed no calls will be transferred. Caller became hostile and used profanity. Call terminated by receptionist at 4:17 p.m. At 5:30, Bram walked me to my car. He waited in the garage until I pulled out. He watched me drive up the ramp. At 6:05, I was back in the apartment. I made pasta. I ate it on the couch. I watched half a documentary about a woman who raised eagles. At 8:12, my mother called. The call went to silent. The voicemail came through as a transcript on my screen. Sweetheart, please. Palmer called me. She said they called your work. That wasn't what we wanted. Nobody wanted that. Please just come home. The kids are. The transcript ended there. The voicemail cut off. I deleted it. Monday morning, I walked into HR at 9 a.m. sharp. Veronica had a folder ready. She had drafted a formal no-contact directive to be sent by certified mail to my mother, my brother, and my sister-in-law. She had drafted a memo to the front desk and the security team with their 3 names and photos. She had drafted a memo to my direct team letting them know that a personal situation had caused a workplace disruption, and that any external caller asking for me by name, by department, or by the woman who handles the Roan account was to be forwarded to HR, not to me. She had a referral to the Employee Assistance Program. She had a referral to a family law attorney who did consultations through our benefits. I signed everything she put in front of me. I called the attorney at 11 a.m. Her name was Ingrid. She had a calm, tired voice. I told her the situation in 6 sentences. She said, "Okay. 3 things. 1. You have no legal exposure. You were never a legal guardian. You have no custodial relationship. 2. If the biological parents attempt to name you in any way, as a caregiver on school forms, as an emergency contact, as a pickup authorization, you need to know about it, and we will send cease and desist letters. 3. If they attempt any form of guilt-driven legal theater, small claims for owed rent, anything like that, forward it to me. Don't engage. Don't respond. Forward it. Is that clear?" "Yes," I said. "One more thing," Ingrid said. "I've done this a long time. People like this don't stop because you ask them to. They stop because the cost of not stopping gets too high. HR just raised the cost. I'm about to raise it again. Keep it high. Don't lower it because someone cries at you. Crying is cheap. It's the cheapest thing they have left." Understood. The cease and desists went out on Wednesday. On Thursday, my mother went to the school. She tried to pick up Briar from preschool. She was not on the pickup list. I had been on the pickup list, and I had called the school Monday afternoon to have my name removed. The school called Palmer. Palmer had to leave work to come get Briar. According to the school's secretary, who I ran into at a coffee shop months later and who did not know I had left, Palmer arrived at the school 40 minutes late, crying, with Wesley following behind in a separate car, and the 2 of them had a loud argument in the parking lot that ended with the teacher threatening to call the police. I heard about it from the secretary. I did not ask questions. I nodded. I said, "That sounds hard for everyone." I paid for my coffee and I left. I have not spoken to my mother. I have not spoken to my brother. I have not spoken to Palmer. It has been long enough now that the silence is not a wound, it is a climate. It's just the weather of my life. I get up. I go to work. I come home to an apartment that is mine, that costs less than the invoice they tried to hand me, that has 1 set of keys, and that set is in my pocket. The last thing I ever did for those 3 kids was tuck them in. Briar, Kaylin, Rode. I said goodnight in the order I always said it. I read the book about the rabbit. I turned off the light. I closed the door gently so the latch wouldn't wake them. Then I walked down the stairs and out the front door at 6 a.m., and the house behind me got quiet, and stayed quiet, and the quiet was not my problem anymore. It was theirs. And they could not afford it.